Hey, sorry, a bit out of breath. I've just finished sanding this 180 square metre block paved driveway, and I thought I'd like to touch upon a subject that I've had a few messages about, and that's regarding using whacker plates or compactor plates when it comes to resanding. There is no real need to use a whacker plate. I know the paving contractors use whacker plates when they're finishing off laying paving, but that's purely to compact the actual blocks into the sand that's beneath them. Also, I mean, I'm not too sure exactly what the paving contractors do use to sand it. I know they may use kiln dried sand, but if you are using a whacker plate, I don't know, you may be able to get away with using regular sand, but obviously when you're resanding it after cleaning, you're supposed to use kiln dried sand. And I just want to show you the reason. Is got this last little bit left here, and you can see, minus the leaves, this sand, this is kiln dried sand. I mean, you'll see in my other videos I've done on sanding, this sand is really fine, it's really dry. I mean, it's like dust. When you are cleaning, unless you're going absolutely mental with a jet wash and you're really hitting the joint lines hard, you know, a sort of, you know, if you've got the joint lines here, if you were spraying into the joint lines, you know, vertically into them, then obviously you are going to lose a lot of sand. But when you're cleaning, you should be at a shallower angle. You know, you're going to be sort of, you know, 45 degrees, something like that. So you're just going to be kissing the edge of the blocks. You know, you're not blowing deep into the joint lines. If you are, you're doing something wrong. Obviously, if you're blowing deep into these joint lines, it's going to take way more sand than what's needed to replace these joints. And you can see, I'm getting close to this one. Obviously, this one that's been cleaned, and you can see the old sand still in the joint. Now these blocks, they vary in size, but they're normally around about 50 mil deep. And you're not, you know, when you're cleaning, you shouldn't be removing all of the joint sand that's there. Like I say, if you are, you're doing something wrong. So you'll see, I mean, this joint here is slightly wider than it needs to be. Obviously the blocks have shifted over slightly over time due to wear, but I mean, this kind of line here is like your average size joint line. And you'll see, if you just take some of this sand, I'll see if I can get in close. And if you just push this sand, you'll see it is so fine, it just fills the joints. Let's get some more in there. Look. See? This is technically what you're doing, but with your brush. See, you haven't even got to do anything really. It just fills the joints nicely. The big ones, I mean, this big one here, you'll see straight away, if I can get in close enough. Now, the sand just fills the joint in. And there you go. That's that area done. Obviously sweep it off. So you don't need to use a compactor. If you're having to use a compactor, then obviously you'll just be trying to vibrate the sand. I mean, you're not, you know, a compactor is going to compact these blocks into the sand and the substrate that's below them. This sand won't get compacted because it's got nothing to compact onto. All you're going to end up doing is vibrating the sand into the joint. But the sand is so fine that you're wasting your time using a compactor on joints like this. I've been doing this, you know, cleaning driveways for a few years now, and I've never ever had a single complaint from somebody about the joint lines not being full. The main reason for you getting dropping joint lines, stand back up, if you are getting dropping joint lines, or you're getting people complaining about dropping joint lines, the main reason is either your sand is not dry, or you're using the wrong kind of sand. You might be trying to use builder's sand, which is obviously a lot coarser, and it's normally wet. So obviously it's made for mixing sand and cement, mixing mortar This is kiln dried sand. It's dedicated for block paved driveways. You know, you can't make sand and cement with this because it's just got, there's no texture to it. There's no, you know, it won't bind to anything. The other reason, if you're getting a few localized joints drop in, obviously you get a lot of ants that live beneath the block paving because it is a sand substrate. Normally you'll see, you know, ants will start to push the sand out, but it'll only be on the localized bricks every here and there. Also, if you get quite a few sort of sinking blocks, there's a couple at the other end which I've just sort of managed to fix slightly. Normally with that, if you've got an ant's nest below, obviously they pull the sand out and it starts to lose its strength, and you might get a few sinking blocks. And you can just pull the blocks out and just top them up with some builder sand, because obviously it's got a lot more, it's a lot coarser, so it'll hold its strength. So yeah, that's the reason behind that. That's just a little brief bit on you know, why we don't need to use a compactor. Obviously compactors are really expensive. If you know, if you're doing this you know, professionally, you know, compactors are quite expensive and obviously take up room on the van, so there's no real need for it. You know, even along sort of quite narrow joints, you're only topping the joints up. You shouldn't be blowing all the sand out. I mean, if there's any paving contractors out there that do see this, and you know, if I'm wrong, then obviously I put my hands up, but I say I've been doing this for years and never had any complaints. And if there's any contractors out there, if you do have any idea, you can let me know when you are laying it brand new, what kind of coverage you get out of kiln dried sand when you're sweeping it in. It'd be interesting to try and compare it to what I get on my coverage after cleaning. On a standard sort of block paved driveway, you know, this sort of dimensions on your bricks, I'm normally getting around 25 to 30 square meters out of a 25 kilo bag. Obviously if you were blowing deeper into the joints, I dare say you'd use a lot more, so it'd be interesting to try and compare it to a pavier. If there's any out there that wish to leave me a comment on what they reckon their coverage guide is when laying a brand new block paved driveway for the jointing sand, it'd be interesting to compare. So yeah, there you go, brief video. Sanding's easy, straightforward, quite therapeutic, no need for a compactor. That's me, I'm going back to work. Take care now, bye for now.